It's time for two-star pitchers and sleeper hitters for Week 25. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, September 6th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's get into our Week 25 preview, beginning with two-start pitchers. Scott, are you using Chris Bassitt up against the Mets and the Cardinals?
It's not automatic if you're looking to preserve ratios in a categories league, but I think most people in most scenarios will want to start Bassitt.
What about Brady Singer, who is at the Yankees and at the Pirates?
Could say the same thing about him. One bad matchup, one pretty good matchup, and he's been stable overall.
What about two teammates, Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford? They're both facing the Orioles and the Yankees next week.
So I think they're both out for categories leagues. Houck's walks have gone up, his strikeouts down in recent starts. He still is giving you quality starts more often than not because he's such a good ground ball pitcher. So I could see doing Houck in a points league if you're really looking to maximize the number of starts you're getting. But Cutter Crawford being a fly ball pitcher, I'm totally out for him.
All right, and what about Taj Bradley, who has looked pretty rough recently, a little bit better here on Thursday. He's at the Phillies and at the Guardians.
Yeah, made a crucial change on Thursday. The splitter is what was killing him. It's just not dropping as much as it used to. So we faded it for more cutters and got strikeouts, but still gave up a couple home runs. It's still too volatile overall, I think, to trust in a two-start week, especially given those not so favorable matchups.
All right, who are the two-star pitchers you are looking to add and stream for Week 25?
So Spencer Arrighetti would normally just miss the cut being 81% rostered, but interesting case because he had one of the worst starts any pitcher's had all season in his most recent turn, and his start percentage is down around 50% because of it. I think you need to hold on to him, and I think you need to consider starting him still because if the Astros go down to a 5-man rotation as expected with an off day Monday, then Arrighetti would line up for two starts against the A's and the Angels. Even if they leave Ronel Blanco in and make it a 6-man rotation, he'd still have a start against the A's, and I think there's still a lot to like about Arrighetti. That start, I'm guessing, was an aberration. Jeffrey Springs, tough matchups against the Phillies and Guardians, but I think he's proven to be effective enough that I'd still use him in a week with two tough matchups. Mackenzie Gore seems to be back on track, is walking fewer batters, delivery seems to be in order, and he has two great matchups. Braves, shouldn't have called that a great matchup, but it's a pretty good matchup. Braves and Marlins. For Mackenzie Gore, J.P. Sears, bad matchup at Houston, but then he gets the White Sox for his second turn, and he's been real solid lately, has Sears. Ben Lively's been shaky lately, but his matchups are the White Sox, the worst offense in baseball, and the Rays, the third worst offense in baseball. David Festa's last couple turns have been great, and he gets the Angels and Reds.
What about one-star streamers for next week?
Osvaldo Bido at the White Sox. It's been mostly good lately, fly ball pitcher. Matthew Boyd, kind of a dangerous option, but he's looked good lately, and he also gets the White Sox. Alex Cobb came off the IL recently, and his trademark splitter seemed to be back in order. He gets the Rays. Gavin Williams showed signs of coming around in his latest start. I don't know. He gets to start against the Dodgers over the weekend. We'll see how that goes. But presuming Gavin Williams navigates that one okay, he then gets the Rays next week. Andrew Heaney at Seattle, very strikeout-prone team. He may only give you 5 innings, but could be with 8 strikeouts. And then a bonus one here, Jacob deGrom. If he is activated after a Saturday rehab start, he would line up to face the Mariners next Thursday. Could be a short start, but could be really dominant 4-inning start.
Let's talk hitters. Best hitter matchups for next week. The Cubs, Twins, Astros, Rockies, and Marlins. The worst hitter matchups, Padres, Rangers, D-backs, Mets, and Giants. Who are your top sleeper hitters for next week?
So with the Cubs having the best matchups, Pete Crow Armstrong top of the list. He's been awesome since the start of August. Xavier Edwards somehow got dropped in enough leagues with his brief IL stint that he now qualifies for this list again. I think he's going to be a must start the rest of the way. And you mentioned the Marlins have the 5th best matchups. Also taking advantage of those matchups for the Marlins is Connor Norby, especially with 5 lefties on the schedule. He was a lefty masher in the minors this year. The Twins have the 2nd best matchup, as you pointed out, and also just one lefty on the schedule. So that works in favor of Matt Wallner, who's been slugging really well since coming back from the minors in July. And also Trevor Larnach, who has great underlying numbers but tends to sit against lefties. This week is a good week to take a shot on him. I also have Carlos Santana on here from the Twins. Mason Wynn and Lars Nootbaar. The Cardinals have pretty good matchups. I think they're solid plays. Michael Toglia with the Rockies having the 4th best matchups. Only half the week at Coors Field, but Toglia's hit for good power on the road even. And finally, Kyle Manzardo, who's come back from the minors and looks like he's ready to go this time. Had a 2-homer game. Guardians have just one lefty on the schedule.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.